Whether you're learning Norwegian or just traveling to Norway and you'd like to impress the locals by saying their city names correctly, this video is going to teach you the correct pronunciation of 8 Norwegian place names. Let's get started with the capital, Oslo. It's not Oslo, the correct pronunciation is Oslo. Now, the O is pronounced as an U, and this is a sound that we don't really have in the English language. It's basically the beginning of a W sound. So there is a video here that teaches you how to pronounce it, but when you think of a word like what or why, right, this beginning of the sound, that's the O sound that we have in Norwegian. And then the SL is usually pronounced as a shl with an SH in English, like in English or fish or something like that. Whereas in the southwest of Norway, people would say Oslo, and even some people from the city would call it Oslo, but that's nowadays considered a little bit, posh, old-fashioned, so that's something you're not going to hear very much in Oslo any longer. Let's move to the west coast. The biggest city there is not Bergen, it's Bergen. So the first vowel here is pronounced as an A, and that's basically the same sound as we have in English in words like and or as, right? So we write it as an E here, but we should pronounce it as this A. And then, unfortunately, in Norwegian, we have to pronounce every single R, and you can choose whether you want to do the R with the tip of your tongue, like you would in Spanish or in Arabic or in Russian, or if you want to do it in your throat, like the French would do. So, unfortunately, the English R is not possible. You have to make a choice here. So you can either say Bergen or you can say Bergen. And the locals would say it in their throat, they would say Bergen. Now, the third biggest city in Norway is actually not that difficult. The biggest mistake people make is usually with the stress. It's on the second syllable. So it's Stavanger. Stavanger. Don't forget the R at the end of the word. You have to pronounce it as well. The fourth biggest city, Trondheim. Not that difficult, I think. The O here is not pronounced as an U, it's pronounced as an O, Trondheim. The D is written but not pronounced, it just remains silent. Very practical, we don't need to worry about it. And the EI combination is an A, Trondheim, okay? Sometimes you might hear an old version of the city name, which is Trondheim. This is not just some weird pronunciation, it's simply an older name that was used before, and then some linguists thought that that sounds too Danish, so the name was officially changed to Trondheim, but many people will still say Trondheim, and that's actually quite easy to pronounce. The H remains silent in this variation of the name, so nothing very difficult. Let's stay at the west coast. This city is really tough. It's pronounced Ålesund. So the A with the ring on top is an O, just a dark O, right? Not very difficult. Åle, and then the S is not a voiced S, so meaning without this vibration. Not Z, but S. Ålesund. The U sound is an U umlaut, as you might know it from German, or you might also know it from French. If you don't, there is a video here on this channel that explains you how to pronounce it. And unfortunately, the D at the end of the word remains silent, so Ålesund. Maybe even more complicated, Haugesund. The end is just the same, but the AU is a mixture of the A and the U sound. So we start with an A and we go to the U. Haugesund. Okay? Bit tricky, I know, might require some practice. Let's move further to the southeast. Sandefjord. Not that difficult, I think. Just remember that the Norwegian A is not pronounced as an A, it's pronounced as an A. And the D remains silent. Okay? Easy, so we have twice the D here and we don't pronounce it in this name, but the O again will be an U like in the capital Oslo or Oslo, so you would say Sandefjord, and the R at the end has to be pronounced also. So by the way, this applies to all Norwegian fjords. They are not fjords, they are fjord. And lastly, my favorite, Tromsø. The O with the line through it is a sound that you might also know from German or French. In German it's called O umlaut, Ö. In French you have the same, like in the letter EU. Les Bleus is the French football team, so during the World Cup you might have got familiar with this expression. If you don't know it, there's also a video on this channel that teaches you how to produce this sound. And then the O is said as an U as usual, and the S is not voiced, so not something like Tromsø, but Tromsø. So which place name in Norway is difficult for you? Let me know in the comments.